from the makers of Wonder Boy comes a darkly atmospheric tale of good, evil, and ambiguity. The story of Dark Half unfolds in alternating chapters. As the player, you'll assume control of both the vampiric Lord Ruyku, a vengeful deity hell-bent on doling out some divine retribution, as well as Falco, a heroic paladin sworn to prevent humanity's total annihilation. But Dark Half's duality isn't limited to the story structure. The game's core mechanics are tailored to complement the active party. Rukyu must feed on the souls of the innocent, and not-so-innocent townsfolk, in order to maintain his strength and enthrall monsters to fill his party roster. Every monster he recruits gives him additional magic powers, while Falco enlists both scripted friends and optional mercenaries. Plus he has to harvest rays of light from the corpses of Rukyu's victims. But the fundamental differences between the two parties is found during combat. Only Team Falco's spells and abilities increase by winning battles. Enemies they defeat drop chests that may contain consumable spell scrolls and one-use stat orbs. I made the mistake of either underleveling my party or being too generous to my allies, because by endgame showdown, Falco died instantly. Anyway, Ryuku's monster allies are completely AI controlled, and every spell Ruyku casts depletes his soul meter, or energy reserve, same thing. Meaning, the player spends the majority of the battle watching the gameplay itself, usually poorly. Sure, Ryuku's team will probably win the battle, he's a dark god after all, but his minions' complete lack of tactical savvy will leave you flabbergasted and annoyed. This is frustrating for 3 reasons. 1. These monsters never do the thing you want them to do, like when they insist on casting magic that your opponent is immune to. 2nd, Ruyku has some badass underlings that exist solely to pester Falco, but they never join Ryuku's party, even though doing so would have made this portion of the game way more engaging. And 3, Ryuku's half of the story is the game you want to play. There aren't too many other RPGs out there that explore the perspective of the antagonist, and because Falco represents the stereotypical chosen one, to the point of being a flat caricature of a stoic protagonist. He's boring. Which is ironic because you're given near total control over his combat sequences, which opens up a ton of opportunities for employing strategic maneuvers. Basically, Dark Half is a great game with a great story, but sadly never both at the same time. Anyway, remember the soul meter that I mentioned earlier? Well, both parties have one. And should the meter run out, it's game over. So a good portion of the game is devoted to keeping it stocked. Aside from having Rukyu eat people, Falco can cash in his unwanted artifacts at the church, and either character can refill the meter by checking it with the save witch, who annoyingly disappears afterwards, so don't expect to find a save when you actually need to shut the game off. And by killing monsters in combat. Although a few thousand souls may initially seem like a lot, every step your characters take decreases that pool by 1, and getting lost rapidly escalates into a deadly predicament. Unless you're smart at managing your resources, this system can really discourage you from exploring the environment, which is counterintuitive because Falco must backtrack through dungeons Ruyku has already cleared. Ruyku has no need for mundane equipment and conveniently leaves chests unopened just for Falco to collect. Falco must also gather enough light rays to unlock the game's true ending, and should continually search for Easter eggs scattered throughout the overworld. Treasures that can only be discovered by wandering onto a square containing a hidden homestead. Seriously, these things are all over the place. Ultimately, Dark Half is a game that keeps the player thinking, whether inviting you to contemplate the practical ramifications of devouring NPCs. Do you leave them alive for Falco? After all, they might provide important services. Or do you turn them into valuable soul power and light rays? Dungeon exploration often requires as much brain power as fighting prowess. Most caverns and towers have unique puzzles that bar the character's progression. Geographically, dungeons are short, but trial and error will keep you wandering in circles until you can work out the unspoken dungeon objective. Plus the story, however well written, can get a bit heavy, philosophically speaking. At first, Dark Half appears to be a straightforward tale of good versus evil, but the game endears Ruyku to the player by making him playable, despite the atrocities he commits along the journey. Eventually, every soul he eats becomes a small moral dilemma for the player. After all, watching small children plead for their lives before crumbling into a pile of bones is some pretty dark stuff. But it's also worth noting that Falco can only accomplish the most good if Ruyku commits the most evil, a point which reinforces the reoccurring themes within the game. Is sacrificing others in the name of the greater good truly evil? And for there to be good, there must also be evil. By the adventure's climax, you may even question the identity of the story's true villain. In fact, you'll be given an opportunity to choose the side for the inevitable confrontation between Ruyku and Falco. In the end, Dark Half proves to be a worthy challenge, and unlike any other RPGs you're likely to play.